Good yourself?
Good. So,
Uh,
what do we have? You were talking about some type of. I took a quick look at your notes this morning, and there was something happening on this day, some type of planetary event. What's the event that had you um, focused on the 7th? It's been a pretty
uh,
wild week going into the 7th, so I was thinking that you're looking for some kind of turning point in the market, and since we've been selling off, is your work calling for a potential trading low, if not a major low, a trading low in here?
can I just ask one quick question?
Sure.
Did you introduce me, Dale?
Oh yeah, I told everyone Norm was going to be with us. Norm Winski, everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, be nice
You're
to know
right.
if I start talking. It'd be nice to know if I start talking, they know who's talking, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Everybody, it is with the greatest pride I'd like to introduce my trading wizard buddy from Naples, Florida, Norm Winski. One of the only guys I know that we have a similar background, and we're both older guys and still doing it. Welcome to LAR, Norm.
Thank you very much, Dale. Great introduction.
Adinda's saying hello. Happy Pips is saying hello. Everyone say hello to Norm and make him feel at home before he presents these turning points to us. Okay.
Okay, you might want to mention, my background. I've been doing this over 40 years. I'm a former Chicago floor trader, so I have a little experience.
Forex
Okay,
Pipper says hello. Yeah, your stuff is great. Many people in here over the last. How long have you been coming here? About a year now.
I think so.
Yeah, a lot of major turns you've called. In fact, stuff to keep up with all of them. You get lots of signals. Why don't you go ahead and talk about? I know you like to review last month's action before you get to what you see happening here in January. But
All
I
right, well,
just thought I'd get an opening impression from you. Can you remember a year starting off this way?
can I remember a year? I don't know. It was where we had a sell off in the first few days. Yeah.
Well,
Was
I
it
think,
this? Was it this intense? I can't recall one
yeah.
quite like this, but it may have happened.
I think the last time it happened to this degree was 2008.
Okay.
That's what I heard. So, to
That would
me,
not.
it was a little.
That may not be a positive harbinger for the coming year, right?
Yeah, well, I know you have a different discipline, but I know there are a lot of people that count each day um, to be a month or some type of each day of the week represents a certain trading period going forward in the year.
Oh, that's a fractal line.
Okay,
That's a fractal.
remember Mark Leibovitz? I think he used to do that.
Well, he learned that from me.
Oh really?
Yep.
Okay, so you do look at that.
That's fractal. I've presented that on your show
Okay,
before.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. So
If you
then
want.
this is setting up. So you'll
Matter of
be
fact,
looking for frac.
I'll be putting together my angel fractal forecast for in February.
Okay,
Because you have to have the January price section to do that.
right.
Yeah. But
Okay.
Mr. Leibovit and I
I
were
should have.
market
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I underestimated you.
Mr. Leibovit and I
You.
were market makers on the CBOE together, and we were friends. And
Oh, okay.
I came up with the idea. I didn't know what a fractal was back then, but I came up with this idea. I had stumbled across the old Wall Street adage, "As January goes, so goes the year," and I started thinking about that. And my friends and family accused me of being too literally minded, so I wanted to do more than just look at that thing on the surface. I wanted to dive down and see to what degree it worked. And so I've been
Okay.
doing that now since the early '80s.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
All right. So
and
then
then and then
then I
Lee,
have a good. I'll have a good source to interpret January's action for a roadmap for the rest of the
yeah,
year.
and then Leibovit picked up the ball there and started using that. He called it the annual forecast model and
That's right.
he became famous, went on the Nightly Business Report, Wall Street Week, and all that sort of thing. And now, if you go on his website, last I checked, he was charging about $12,500 for that, and I'm basically almost giving it away for free. So,
Wow. Well, he lives, I think he moved to Sedona, so you need a lot of money to live there.
yeah, did you know him personally?
I never met him, but, we were on a lot of the same networks, and I talked to him on the phone, but never met him.
Okay. All right, let's move ahead now. So here's we're going to review last. I was on your show, I think, on the 8th of December, and I wanted to come on the 7th, but there was a schedule conflict, so I couldn't do that because we had a big planetary lineup there on the 7th. So I was expecting a big turn there, and we'll see that in a moment. Here's the dates that I published in my December letter, which went out, I think, the 29th of November, whatever Sunday that was, right around there. And so there we have astro dates and we have Fibonacci dates. I have my own Fibonacci sort of GAN type model, and it generates these dates. Okay, so there's the results. Let's see, December was one of the. Okay, here we go. Here's your astro dates. Here's how I score these. I put the dates, I mark the dates on the S&P chart. We're talking about the stock market now, and I
Yeah.
put these markings on here. And if it's a circle around, not really, in circle, I should say, a bar in red, that's a
Yeah.
miss. That's a clunker. And if I put an F there, that's a winner for Fibonacci. And if I have an arrow, that's a winner for Astro. Here's where they both came together with the low of the day, low of the month to the day. So I had the
Yeah.
Astro date, the 14th, I think, or it was the 17th. Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Uh,
That was a rally into the Fed.
yeah, yeah, that was exactly. And so there we had they indicated both that day for a big change in trend day, and they lined up there and they had the nice little spike low there. So the Astro dates were 4 out of 5 for 80%. And the Fibonacci dates were 5 out of 5 for 100%. So that averages out to 9 out of 10 for 90%.
And that last sale was a beauty. Where was that? I remember the 25th or something, right before Christmas, and into the New Year's week. It sold off. The sell off this week started the end of last week
Right.
into
We
the
have
New
that up
Year's
here
week.
on the 31 AC
Yeah.
and possibly the 30th. Might be able to count
Yeah.
that the holiday.
Yeah.
And, hey, Nail, this guy, he just got into stocks.
This guy.
That guy, it's on the chart. You see him? He's in the
Yeah.
stocks. Okay.
Yeah.
A little humor there, see? No extra charge. Okay, so
Keep your
now
day
the dollar.
job, man. Forget the
What's that?
cartoonist career. But it's
I'm sorry.
very creative. It's nice. Did you draw that yourself?
No, it's like some
Well,
kind of
what?
clip art I got a long time ago.
Okay. Have you
All
done
righty.
his
So,
chart? That guy's chart.
what's that again?
Have you done that guy's personal astro chart?
No, but if he called me up, I might consider. I owe him that much. Put him in those stocks all these years. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, U.S. dollar. Here we go. I got there's George right there on the chart.
Hmm.
And these are the dates we had back in December. I'm going to show you the future here, too. And there's the dates I had for December and how they come out. We had, it won't bore you with the details, but if you want to get my letter, it's all in there. And so 5 out of 7, I did 71.43%. Here you can see the markings on the chart here. And there's your US dollar index chart. Okay. I just do simple charting, by the way. I don't go in for all the oscillators and moving averages. I think if you just draw simple trend lines, work great.
Yeah. Naked trading.
Is that naked trading? I don't know.
Yeah.
I usually keep a little bit of clothing on, right?
Yeah. Well, you could trade naked and not be nude.
Okay. It's a little chilly here today. Got down into the.
Oh man, I tell you, I'm going to need an arc here in California.
Oh yeah, you guys are inundated, right? It's.
Oh yeah, major El Nino.
Don't you know it?
What are El Nino years like in Florida? Dry or wet?
I haven't noticed much change other than in December we had one of the warmest Decembers on record.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we had like 7 or 8 days in a row where it was near record high temperatures.
Were you out surfing?
Nope.
Okay.
You can't surf really. You need a hurricane to go surfing here. I'm on the
Okay.
Gulf of Mexico. The waves are
Okay.
pretty small, which is nice that you come here to go swimming because the Gulf is usually warmer than the
Yeah.
Atlantic, and the waves aren't very big. And you can walk. The Gulf has a big shelf. You can walk way out in the Gulf without even swimming.
Wow, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
Okay, I'll get you one of those really cheap fares. Sometimes you can go fly from where are you in LA?
Yeah, San Diego.
Oh, San Diego. Oh, yeah, San Diego. I just saw that about last week. $34 from San Diego to Fort Myers.
Wow.
Yeah, come
Okay.
on down.
All right.
You live in a beautiful spot there.
Yeah, it's just the climate's going to be lousy this winter.
The only
I've
thing
lived
about
through these El Ninos. It's going to rain for 3 months.
okay, the only thing I didn't
That's
like
right.
about San Diego is the Pacific's kind of cold all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Unless there's an El Nino, and it's still cold compared to the water you go into.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. And are the Chargers going to stay there in San Diego or not? You think?
I don't care.
Oh, you don't care? Okay. All right, moving ahead. Now we're going to look at here's stuff. I got this all out of my January. Here's the chart. I updated the chart last night with a dollar. Don't know what it did. I had to go to sleep sometime, so I may be behind a little bit by a few hours. But here's the
Hmm.
dollar as of last night, and so here's your 30-minute chart, and you can see. Oh, here's here because I'm a few days late now based on my January letter, which went out last weekend last Sunday night. I had the 4th of January. How did that come out? Well, here you go. Here's the early morning of the 4th, and that was a pretty nice little pullback low there, right?
Yeah, nice, very nice.
Yep. And then we got the 11th coming up. That'll be on Monday, and then the 15th, the 19th, and 27th, and 29th. Okay,
Okay.
so here's what I said here in the letter, in my January letter. Following a big rally from October through November, the dollar peaked in early December. The chart pattern seems to be a consolidation following a rally high. Short term, the dollar index is traded into a wedge or triangle formation, which will likely be resolved almost immediately. Well, that was back here. So that was back on over the holiday weekend, New Year's weekend, and there's Monday, and then we broke out to the upside, I guess. Huh? All right, moving ahead here. I was really excited last month when I was on your show, Dale, that we had Saturn and Uranus lining up, and I gave you about a half a dozen markets to watch. Uh, two
Yeah,
of those, two of those were. I'm going to show you a couple of those. I think Pluto was involved, and so that said you should be watching Coco. And here's what happened. So that was the 7th of December, and here's the 7th. That turned out to be the high of the month for Coco to the day. Pretty good. Now Coco's really getting beat here since for the past month now, getting beaten down. Okay, there's also so I had two dates for Coco for December, and there's the 7th and the 11th, and you had the high of the month, and then we had a little short-term low there for the 11th. So we got 2 out of 2, I guess. Oh yeah, there we go, 100%. Not too bad, huh?
no,
Here's the
your stuff,
up-to-date chart as of.
your stuff is great.
Thank you.
I,
Here's
I
the
would say, what kind of portfolio would you say people would need to trade all your signals?
all of them.
Yeah,
Kind of
because
hard
you never
to.
know which ones are going to work until you look in the rearview mirror.
Of course.
So people wanted to
I
trade all
do
your
filter it
stuff.
down. I cover about 30 markets, and I filter
Yeah,
that down. I have something called a monitor list where I add up all the planetary astrological energy for the month and forecast. Here's your top markets to watch. Because you don't want to be trading something that's sleeping.
right.
That's where the action is. Here's your cocoa chart. Here you can see how it's been going. We made a little high. We had a date for Here we go, the 31st after the close, so New Year's weekend. And here we have, we made a little top here right over the weekend. And there's Monday's opening, and then it's been down, down, down ever since. You see that?
Yes.
Coming up, we also have the 6th. I haven't had, it's too short to, can't evaluate usually one day later. So, that was yesterday. So we'll see if maybe we make a low here, as of yesterday, we get a little bounce or something. We have a pretty good downtrend there in the cocoa. Here's the stop me anytime, Dale. If you or anybody has any questions, that's fine.
Okay.
Here we have hogs. These are the kosher hogs, Dale. You know what? Hey, Dale, do you know what a kosher hog says?
What?
Oink vey.
Okay, buddy.
Ba-bum-bum. All right, so here we go. Here were the dates for the hogs and the cocoa. Notice the cocoa and the hogs are on here because they're astro cousins, believe it or not. So we have the same dates. We have the 7th and we have the 11th. I just gave away a big secret. And there's 2 out of 2. That's 100%. The hogs we're one day off on the 7th. That date for the 7th was one day off of the this low right here. Then we went up, and the 11th was the high of the month for hogs. And that worked out pretty well. So, and then looking ahead, if you care about hogs, what you're going to pay for your bacon for breakfast or whatever, your ham, here's the 4th. And how'd that work out? Well, I updated the chart last night. Here's your 15-minute fib hogs. And you can see it had a nice little pullback there right on Monday's opening. All right.
Nice
now
work.
we're getting to the top of the channel here. So we were due to have a turn yesterday. And if as long as it happens within one trading day, we're good to go. So if it had a kind of either roll over here or spike up here real quick and then hit the top of the channel and then roll over, that would be a valid date, a valid signal. So there we go. Looking ahead, come in advance. Okay, here's what everybody wants. What's in the future, right?
Did you, I was paying attention, but you didn't show anything for crude oil, did you?
I did not put the crude oil in this. Nope.
Okay.
I'm looking at either reviewing the ones that I had talked about primarily last time, or that are, as you will follow the logic here in a moment, the planets basically tell me what to look at. That's the unique things about this approach is not only gives you timing, but it tells you what you should be looking at.
That's a great.
It's like an opportunity. It's like an opportunity finder.
Right. So there might be months where there's not much happening in oil or gold, and there are more things happening in the ags than in the metals or energy.
There you go, and you're going on my path now. So on the on the night of the 4th, we had Mercury. It's one of your favorite things, I think, Dale. Mercury turned retrograde in the sign of Aquarius, and Mercury is closely associated with grains. Aquarius is, to be thorough here, Aquarius is copper, and so those are the markets you would want to watch based on that for some sort of turn there. And the stocks respond to everything because they're the big basket of everything. Then tomorrow, the reason I asked to come on your show today, Dale, is because tonight is kind of special, to quote the what was that, a Budweiser commercial or something, or or that tonight's kind of special. It's time for Michelob. I think that was Michelob, right? So tonight you have the 7th tonight, and we have Jupiter turning retrograde. Let me explain to some of the newbies out there who may not have heard me before. What this is about is that if you, due to the relative motion of the Earth to the other planets, if you were to go out and to plot the different planets in the night sky, you would notice on occasion that various planets seem to appear, that's the key word, appear, to stop their motion and then reverse their direction. This is like if you're driving in your car doing 60 and somebody passes you doing 70. If you glance out your side window there, you might get the impression, if you suspend your logical mind, that you're going backwards by 10 miles an hour, even though your speedometer says you're doing 60. Probably most people out there have had that experience. How about you,
Right.
Dale?
Yep.
Yep, it kind of freaks your brain out. A few months back, I went to the grocery store, crawling into my parking space there, getting ready to stop. I happened to glance out my side window and I thought, oh my God, my brakes have failed. I'm lunging forward. I'm going to hit the car in front of me. It turned out the guy next to me was pulling out his space.
Wow.
Kind of freaked out my brain there for a second, you know? So Jupiter is associated with oats, and because it's in the sign Virgo right now, that's soybeans. So we got a bit of a theme here now. The Mercury thing said soybeans, said grains, and the Jupiter thing says I could cover oats too, but nobody trades oats, so we won't bother with that right now. And so we got soybeans as one of the top things to be watching right around this time. Then this weekend we have a new moon. Well, the grains are lunar sensitive, right? They tend to often turn at new moons and full moons. And so then again, we need to be watching the grains and in particular soybeans. Okay.
Okay.
Then next week we'll have the Mars goes through the signs depending upon we're looking at the solar system from the point of view of the Earth or the Sun. Roughly about 5 to 8 weeks in each sign. And when Mars is the energizer planet, so when it goes into a sign, it energizes that sign and the markets associated with that market. So the markets associated with when heliocentric, that's from the point of view of the sun, Mars enters Libra, that will be sugar and wheat. So if those markets are at an extreme, that's the key. You got to have the right setup that the market's at an extreme, and Mars goes into Libra. Then you want to watch for a change in trend in those markets. Then then the 14th to the 15th, late next week, we have some moderate change in trend points based on the U.S. chart, which is your U.S. financials, U.S. Stocks, T-bonds, and U.S. dollar. And so there you go. There's your dollar popping up there toward the end of next week. Looking ahead, here we go. Here's the soybeans. We have your dates here for the soybeans. And so I think you might be setting up the soybeans. Yesterday we had a big commodity crush, a lot of big deflationary wave. But the beans are holding kind of here. I would like to see them come down just a little bit and retest these lows here one more time into the new moon. Typically, historically, when Mercury turns retrograde, that's usually a high for the grains, but the grains are all in depression mode here. They're on scraping bottom. And so I think we could get an inversion here if we get the right price action. So I don't know if any of your people out there trade grains. I know they're mostly foreign currency people. Grains are a great place to learn how to trade. You can get the mini contracts, and if you got small money, and play around with that,
Okay.
7th, and then later in the month we have some big stuff too. So anyway, I think the beans look interesting. Here's the stock market. I think everybody's watching the stock market right now,
Yeah.
and so we have here's my forecasted dates for the stock market. I mentioned that I thought I had this planetary index model, which is kind of like if anybody out there knows about heard of Bradley, they would know what I'm talking about. That's where you add up the planetary energy for the month, and you do put it on a graph. So I said for the January letter, the pattern for the planetary index model somewhat similar to December, and that's showing a sharp down move into a low for about the 11th to the 12th. So far, so good, huh?
Yeah.
Followed by a modest rally into mostly sideways trend. Okay, so here's your dates for the January. I had the 4th, the 5th, and then we got the big window here that I like the best is the coming up this weekend. The Fibonacci agrees with that for the 8th or the 11th. And then we have the
Also
new
a new
moon.
moon. New moon on the 10th, 11th.
The new moon's on Saturday the 9th.
Okay.
Here's your S&P chart as of last night. I know it's moved down since then. Here's your S&P cash index. So we probably moved down here to, I don't know where the cash is. I know the futures got down into the 30s, 1930 area. And so I'm not sure if they probably broke the support. If you break that 1950 level there, you got a chance to go all the way down to about into the low 1900s,
Hmm.
Anyway, the reason I had this longer term chart up here is to show you the bigger picture for the stock market, which as you can see, we got a nice roll distribution pattern here, big, what do you call that? Saucer, upside
Yeah,
down saucer top,
rounding, rounding top.
rounding top. Thank you. That's the words I was
Yeah.
looking for.
The
And
opposite of a saucer bottom.
exactly. You know what, Dale? I always tell the beginners, here's a great thing I can teach people. Call this the $1 million technical analysis course in 1 minute. Okay, here's how the newbies can learn this stuff. I learned this by taking my son to Cub Scout camp, and they're just out on the outside of town here. And if you wanted a drink of water, there was a pipe sticking out of the ground. So if you forgot to bring a cup or a cup or a glass to get your water, you had to use your hand. And so you turn on the pipe, and then you have to cup your hand. And I noticed, oh, look at that. That's accumulation. If you look at the shape of the palm of your hand there, when you're accumulating the water, that's what you look for in accumulation in the markets. Then if you want to get rid of the water, turn your hand upside down so the water falls out. And look at that, the shape of that, and that's what you have right here. You have a rounding top. So that's it. That's like a huge portion of chart reading, in my opinion. I think I did that under a minute, maybe. Are you there, Dale?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Okay. That's
So let me ask you this: with all your stuff, so you have a line pointing down to under new lows, so you're looking for a washout then.
well, this line here is just a trend line. So if we break that
Oh,
trend
okay.
line, that's
Yeah.
it. No, I'm not. That's not a forecasting line. It's a trend
Okay.
line.
Okay.
But so far,
So
so as of last night, overnight here, it's kind of followed that line so far. But
yeah, it is.
it got to the
Yeah.
green area there, the green line, which I just connect. It's simple. I just simply connect the bottoms, connect the tops, and that's my technical analysis.
Okay.
It's a technical analysis. I don't even know if it's first grade. It's like kindergarten. That's me. I'm a simple guy. So there we go. There's our dates for the stock market coming up, and I like the weekend for if we continue under pressure here in the weekend. I think that we might be looking. We might have a bit of a low coming up here, no later than Monday. Could be as early as tomorrow because tonight is Jupiter turning retrograde. As I mentioned, when the planets. I didn't finish that idea. So the planets stop their motion and turn to go either direct or retrograde. That's when they stop. That's called a station point. And if they turn retrograde, that's the word for backwards. So they turn to go backwards, and then they could also turn to go forwards, which is called direct. So tonight, Jupiter, which is the biggest planet in the solar system, will turn to retrograde. So that's could be why we're having this little bit of a panic here now.
Let me ask you this, Norm. When you look at some of the astronomical setups and where we're at with what you see and everything you put together that is esoteric for most people, and you hear about all these geo events, Saudi Arabia, Iran, North Korea, are there things that you see in your work, you look further out than a month at a time for kind of a feel and bias for major possible events for the year?
Well, I'm a student of Saul's his cycles and his history. I do think there's used to be called, people would say, oh, there's a 100-year cycle. I think Gann might refer to that. I've kind of come to the conclusion that it's more like 102 years. Just for example, you probably remember reading about the parallels between the Lincoln assassination and the Kennedy assassination. Amazing
Yeah,
parallels there, right? Remember that?
right,
Then,
right,
when I was researching toward the latter part of 2007, I ran across a cycle which matched up with 1907 and 1908. That worked out where it was about 101 years. It was not quite 100 years, maybe a little bit more. And and as soon as I saw that, I said, "Uh oh!" I knew that was trouble because I know my financial history, and that
right.
1907, 1908
That
was
was
a
a financial panic too.
that was a
Yeah,
major financial panic.
yeah.
The whole
The
thing almost
banking
collapsed.
system. Yeah.
The government almost went bankrupt. J.P. Morgan came to the rescue.
Okay, well, if you use a 100-year parallel, World War One started in 1913. We
Well, I
didn't
think
get
it started.
involved till 1917.
Yeah, but I think World War One began in 1914, didn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So I've been looking
I
for a kind of
mean,
a
so
I've
what
been
I'm
looking
saying
for a
is World War I started without us.
yeah.
Okay.
That's it. But
And
the
you could look around the world and say, you know what, the beginnings of World War III, 100 years later, might
yeah.
be
Well,
out there.
that was kind of the point I was going for there. That I think we could be in a scenario here pretty soon where like we kind of are in a kind of a low grade, low global war here with all the terrorism and so forth. So we'll see. I'm staying in my
So,
house.
yeah. Well,
I'm staying inside. I'm not going anywhere.
I hope that this is your best year ever, Norm, in all ways.
Well, I hope that for you too, Dale.
Thank
So
you,
anyway,
buddy.
here's your dates for the stock market. We'll move ahead and tell everybody how you get all these great freebies. I'm giving away
Yeah.
stuff. So my letter covers. I have a monthly letter. It covers. I mapped out the month for you, a month in advance. I cover the stock market. This is all futures oriented. So we have stock indices, T bonds, currencies, and most of the major commodities. And if you contact me, and I got a short, a narrow window here, I apologize for that. I got family coming to visit next week, so going to have somewhat limited time. So I need you to contact me right away. You can get the letter and the class that goes with the letter. That's you have kind of required to get the letter. You have to take about a 3 hour class so you can learn how to read the letter. Now, all this stuff sounds complicated. I know it looks like rocket science, but when you get past the language here and learn a few new terms and a new few things, it's really more like grade school. You don't have to be smarter than the fifth grader to do this stuff. There's no advanced mathematics, and if you're a person that likes to understand how, and why things are happening, and not just have a black box system, then you might find this very fascinating. I go into Astro, advanced Fibonacci. You get a crash course in GAN, fractals, all kinds of things, and if you're into how things work and be able to forecast the what's going to happen in the future. Sure, you'll find this fascinating. Looking forward to helping some folks. So you get
You,
the free
you know,
letter, the
Norm,
free class.
I also see the advantage of, a lot of people sit in front of their platform every day, 8, 10 hours a day, and with your work,
Oh yeah,
it keys your eye into key days when you should be paying attention, and that doesn't
right,
mean every day. So you could still go about your life and be prepared for these turning points, and
absolutely.
put your trade on and walk away.
Dale, you make a great point there. That's one of the other advantages of this approach is it forecasts when you should look at the markets, and as I mentioned earlier, what markets you should be looking at on those dates. So then you can plan your vacations, right? You can plan when to go to the beach and so forth, right?
Right.
There, that's
So I appreciate you being with us here today, Norm.
well, I appreciate your having me on. I want to
I
wish
look
everybody
forward to every month hearing what you're seeing. So
well. Thank you.
most likely I'll talk to you in about 4 weeks or whenever the planets say there's
Okay.
something important to talk about.
Or if you have any questions or anything, always feel free to contact me, right?
Okay,
So
there's
we have
Norm's
here's my
numbers are
contact
on the
info,
screen.
just in case anybody's not doesn't have the video and just on audio. I don't know if anybody does that or not. I have another guy that interviews me. He's got people driving around in their cars, I guess, on the radio, listening, so or something, or on their PCs. You can contact me. I'm in Florida here in the good old USA on Eastern Time, and my landline is 239-594-3939. That's 239-594-3939. You can contact me on Skype at norm.winski. That's norm.winski, or I think you can just punch my name in, and I'm probably the only Norm Winski in all of Skype done. And let's see what else. Oh, I got my email address down here. You can contact me by email at nwinski. That's Nwinsky at embark, as EMBARQ, like root beer, mail.com. So looking forward to helping some of your people there, Dale. Try to get a hold of me as soon as possible. We can do something in the evening if you're busy trading during the day. Yeah, I can help you in the evening or on the weekends. It's a personalized class, 1-to-1, and it's kind of customized to that person's level of knowledge too.
Beautiful, Norm. So get prepared for 2016 with knowing key days and markets to pay attention to this year instead of burning yourself out trying to be there all the time.
Right.
So
That's I think the
that's
big.
what I love about your work.
Well, thank you. I think one of the things I always say about the difference between a new trader and a veteran trader is the new traders think this is like a factory job where you got to come to work every day and you got to crank out the widgets all day long, trade all day long, and as you said, that's a fast way to burn out. Right? Yeah,
Right.
astrology teaches that the sign Leo is the sign of speculation, Leo the lion. And so one day I turned on one of those nature shows and they watch the lions, and they showed how the lions sleep away most of the day, and then they go out at night and find a high spot, and then they sit there and they wait and they wait and they wait until the right moment, and then they pounce. And that's what we should do as traders. Got to wait for the right moment, and then you pounce.
Yeah, that's funny you bring that up because I used to be a blind squirrel in the middle of a snow-covered forest, but about a year and a half ago, I changed my spiritual animal to having the courage and the heart of a lion. And
Great.
so we're all lions here in LAR. So you're definitely talking about what our philosophy is. Sometimes, in fact, most of the times, less is more.
There you
So
go.
thank you so much, buddy. Happy New Year, Norm.
Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, Dale. Thanks a lot.